Hi, I'm Rob Cosman. Welcome to my shop in Grand Bay, New Brunswick, Canada. In this video, we're going to talk about drawer bottoms. I love building drawers and I love doing the bottom the traditional way, solid wood. Stay with me and I will walk you through my process. I've been woodworking for, 500-600 years. Absolutely love making anything with drawers. Now, Alan Peters, I think, was the best at it, and I was most influenced by him when it comes to drawer making. I think what I like the most is the precision that is required to get that drawer to float in there, no movement side to side, only a little bit up and down for seasonal adjustment, and just have it be able to push it in with one corner. Just fantastic. Turns my crank. However, and I've got lots of videos on this too. We're not going to talk about drawer making so much. Lots of videos on this. We'll leave a link to them all. But what we're going to focus on is the actual drawer bottom. And you think, well, what's good about a drawer bottom? Well, you actually only see part of it. But that's not the big deal. What I want to show you is some of the things that you can do that's a little bit surprising when you turn it over. Say, hey, how's that? Why is that done like that? So we're going to go through that whole process. Hopefully when we're done, you'll be better at drawer bottoms. So I've used the term traditional drawer a couple of times already, so I need to define that. I'm going to use this as an example. This is my version of what is a traditional drawer. It's a box that fits into an opening. There is no external hardware. There's no drawer sides, glides, whatever you want to call them, no guides. It's just a box that fits into a hole with such precision. There's no side-to-side movement whatsoever, and just enough top to bottom space to allow for the expansion and contraction of the material as the seasons change. All right, now go a little bit further than that. Traditional drawers typically have what's called a half-blind dovetail on the front, a through dovetail on the back. If you build with dovetail construction, you can make your sides thinner than normal. And that joint and this joint are strong enough that this thin drawer side doesn't compromise the overall strength of the drawer. When I build mine, obviously the fronts have to be wide enough so that you can have a decent size, what we call end lap right here to cover the half blinds. And by making the back a little bit thicker, it gives you a little more glue surface area here between your tails and your pins. Now, before you assemble it, you cut a groove in the bottom to house the bottom. And that's typically, in my case, 1/4 inch. And it doesn't have to be very deep because of the way the grain runs, but we're going to go into that a little bit more in a bit. This is a solid wood bottom, and it sits in a groove on 3 sides. So there's a groove along here, and the front. It's not glued in place, although it can be glued right here. And that way, all of the expansion, as the board moves this way, you never have your grain running in this direction. You always have the grain running this way. Remember, the board doesn't get any longer. It only gets wider and narrower. So this will bottom out and it won't change. If it expanded that way, it would seize your drawer and you wouldn't be able to open it. So you have to allow for the expansion going out this way. So what I have are 2 screws in 2 slots. And that's just enough to allow that to move a little bit and retract a little bit as the air dries up. By keeping this one glued, all of the expansion is going to occur here. It's not going to pull out of the groove here on you. And if you've bottomed this out, meaning the bottoms or the edges of this drawer bottom sit and touch the bottom of the groove on either side, and it's glued here, that will not allow that drawer to rack. Makes it very strong construction. So that is what I call traditional drawer construction. And what we're going to talk specifically about is the bottom, as I mentioned a few times already. So as far as the drawer bottoms, I have just 2 options, either plywood or solid wood. Plywood, I only use Baltic birch, which in my opinion is the best plywood you can get. It's essentially the same material all the way through. It's just the first layer, the grain's running this way, the next layer is running that way, and then right on down through, always an odd number of pieces. So you can actually consider it solid wood, but it's nice and stable. It does not move. And I typically use 1/4 inch on anything bureau size. And small boxes, I'll use the 1/8 inch. Stuff like this where I'm going to put leather on the inside, that's, I think, the best option. Now, solid wood, my favorite is local cedar. This is northern white cedar. It's nice and light. It has a light fragrance. It's easy to machine. It's easy to plane. It feels nice. And as I said, because it's so light, it doesn't add a lot of weight to your drawer. Now, the difference here is that with this stuff, plywood, you don't have to worry about the movement. So when you put it in there, it just stays put. It's not going to move any direction. So when I do something like that, even though I screw it in, there's no allowing there for anything, any kind of movement. I still slide it underneath the back. I always run the grain this way just because traditionally that's what you would do. And then if solid wood always has to have an allowance for movement. So the grain always has to run this way, fastened here, allow it to slide out that way, and then pull back in as it changes with the humidity in the air. Top drawers. And this is a good example of when you might want to use plywood. I have these racks held in place to hold these scraper preparing tools, and they're screwed to the bottom, which means these mahogany strips are not going to move. If it was a solid bottom, it would want to be moving, so you couldn't do that. But because it's plywood, I can fasten these to the bottom without any issue. And it's strong, and you don't have to worry about any movement whatsoever. And it's just, you know, it is doable. Like I said, it's not traditional, so I tend not to do it. Okay, so whether you're doing plywood or solid wood, I'm going to take you through the process of cutting the groove. So here's your 4 pieces: your drawer front, your 2 sides, and your back. Nothing happens in the back. It's always sitting above the top of the groove, so the bottom slides underneath it, whether it's plywood or solid wood. So we got to cut a groove on these 2 pieces, and we got to cut a groove in the front. And we want that groove to be the uniform depth. So there's 3 ways you can do it. You can do it on a table saw. The problem is that if you use a table saw, whether it's a dado blade or a rip blade, as the blade is spinning, you're always cutting on the top of the circle, and it's pushing the wood up. So if you're not extremely careful, and you'll end up with a groove that's not always uniform depth. The router, it screams. There's more pleasant ways of doing things. So I'm going to show you how I like to do it. So put my piece of wood, and people always ask, do you cut them before the dovetails or after? I always cut them after, because when I cut this groove, I don't want it showing within the assembled drawer. So I always want to make sure that the groove is going to go between the 2 pins. And if it's a half blind, it doesn't matter that it comes out through here, because that's all going to be hidden. So your only concern is to keep it between your 2 pins. I prefer to use what we call a drawer bottom plane. It's got a fence on the side that rests on the edge, keeping the plane square to the face of the board, meaning your groove is going to be cut square to the sides. Now, that's not a lot of material to rest against, so what you can do is take something as a reference block. What have I got? Grab a piece of extremely expensive Macassar ebony. Put it in, just lightly on my bench, and then using the side of my bench, I'm going to push it over so that the side of my drawer is now flush with the edge of my bench. And the bench extends the thickness of the drawer side and gives me more to reference off of. Now, I'm going to start this, and then I'll stop and show you how I adjust it. Want to have that wedge in there tight. It's really easy to do. I find it's a lot easier to just pull it back than it is to lift it up and try to set it down again, because you don't want to damage those nice, sharp, defining sides of the groove. Now, how deep do we want to go? Well, you don't want to sacrifice the strength of the bottom of your drawer by having a groove that goes too deep. And if you think about it, if you're using plywood or solid wood, you don't need a whole lot of registration in order to prevent that from pushing down through. In fact, you probably need less than 1/8 of an inch. So if I can get away with it, I'm going to make my groove less than half the thickness of the drawer side. So to adjust this, I just took a strip of wood and I cut it the thickness that I want to limit how far down this cuts. And I just put some double-sided tape on it so that when I am done with it, I can get in there and remove it. In other words, it's not permanent. And this goes down inside here. It just sits on there. It's just a spacer. Now, the advantage of this is it'll keep cutting until this part and this part bottom out. Well, in this case, it's just going to be this part bottoms out on that little piece that spacer I put in there. So holding that standing plumb, you just keep planing until it stops cutting wood. I'll just keep going until it no longer picks up any wood. And I would do that with all the pieces. And that's all right. I could have gone a little bit less, but that's all right. I've got more material over here than I do missing. So we do that on the sides and on the front, nothing on the back. Yeah. Now, if you want your drawer bottom to really strengthen the drawer, what you need it to do is bottom out and the bottom of the groove on this side, bottom of groove on that side. Now we're dressing plywood right now. I can go ahead, you could actually glue it all the way around, but I would just typically glue it in the front groove. I would size it using my shooting board and just take a little bit off until it finally fits in there, bottoms out on both, slide it into place, and then 2 screws there on something that size and be done with it. That's all there is. But if we're going to use solid wood, then we got a little bit more to do. In order to fit this, like I said, I want to have a little more thickness out here in the middle. And then I just cut a rabbet that goes on 3 sides, and I'll show you how I do that, and then fit that into the groove. And when I fit it, I always cut a scrap. I had one here a second ago. What did I do with it? Right there. I'm going to use my marking gauge, which I had here. Determine how much reveal you want. You never want that to be right up tight just because it's, if it misses, it looks terrible. Set it a little bit wider and it can be off a little bit and you don't even notice it. And that happens on 3 sides. One side, both ends. So I would take my marking gauge, having determined the width that I want that to be. Remember, we're only going to do this on 3 edges. This would be the back. Now, before I do anything, I want to make sure I've already finished this, taken this down to final dimension. Give me a second and I'll just run the plane over that real quick. Now I'm going to set my marking gauge off of the blade on my plane. And I'm going to reference off the inside face. This is going to be the side that you see in the bottom of the drawer. This is going to be the underside. So I'll come in here and I will scribe a line on the same sides or the same edges that I scribed over here. I can plane this up afterward. Now, we're going to go through and I like to do the 2 outside edges and then bring this one down between them. And I'm going to use a plane called a skew block plane. This one made by Lee Nelson. I really like it. I want the blade set up so it's sticking just out beyond the edge of this. The blade is just out beyond the edge of the plane. I'm going to hold this in place and then move the plane over until the point of the blade is right on that gauge line, and then I'll tighten this up. Now, you want to keep it. You can do the same thing if you don't trust yourself. Move this over so it's flush with the side of your bench so that you can use that to extend this to help you keep holding this plumb. And when you get close, you're going to want to take your gauge piece and just check that That's still a little too thick. Close. Close. Easier to take it off than it is to put it back on, so at this stage I'll just do one pass. Now that's actually in there. Go right to the bottom. And I think I can live with that. Now I do the same thing on the other side, and then I will simply plane this one in between them and just watch to see when I bring this down right to that level so I don't end up cutting into or cutting across that. So we go and we cut all of our grooves, assemble the drawer. We've got to make sure that when we process our drawer bottom that we go measure right from the bottom of the groove to the bottom of the groove and from the back to the bottom of that groove. When everything fits and it slides down in there, you got to be careful because if it's too tight, it'll have a tendency to push the sides out just enough and it jams the drawer, so it's a bit of a balancing act. Now, how do we secure it here? Well, I've done it two ways. I've cut a V groove. I cut a slot. Remember, you've got to allow for that movement. You cannot prevent this from expanding. So there has to be a slot cut in here. And I used to use a countersunk head, and I would cut a groove in here and in here to match that. But the problem is this is a soft wood and it gets held up. And I find it's a lot more, I don't know whether nice is the word. I put a little steel washer. I use stainless steel. I put a stainless steel washer there that has larger diameter than the screw, so it's got room to move. And that has a tendency to, you've got metal sliding on metal instead of metal trying to move through the wood. And as long as you allow enough room on the groove on either side, you don't want to end up seeing it from the inside, so you got to make sure, keep your screw closer to the outside of the back than to the inside. Put that in, that's going to be glued up in here. Slide that in place, make sure that it fits the opening, and then put that screw in and everything should be wonderful. Now, how's your spacing? I probably could have got away with one screw here, but if this is going to hold any amount of material, 2 screws is probably a little bit better. And there's really no rule for that other than paying attention to what the drawer is being used for. If you get a lot of heavy stuff in there, then you want to make sure it's well supported. Make your drawers as good as you can. There's a great way to up your game. See you. If you like my work and enjoy my style of teaching, click on any one of these videos and help take your woodworking to the next level. I've always said, better tools make the job so much easier. If you click on the link below, the chisel and plane icon, it'll take you to our site and introduce you to all the tools that we actually manufacture right here in our shop. It'll also give you information on our online and in-person workshops.